Is BDP going to put up a lot in terms of investments to make this work?
Surely. I mean, we have a global group that services those partners and that provides the interface between the partners and our cooperating units. In each continent, we have global network managers. Of course, as we're rolling out this business model since the beginning of the year, we have regional meetings, and then we have an executive committee, which is made up of senior people from BDP and we call them premium partners, so that we shape this thing in the years to come with a common bond and a common mindset.
Which are some of the key countries you want to see this system work best? Are there some markets that you're like dying to build up, but you just don't have the penetration at the moment, and you would like to get the partners to help you out with that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are in the dominant, call it developed and developing countries, i.e. China, i.e. India, Singapore, and so forth. We are not in Japan. It's an extremely difficult market to penetrate, so we felt it's best to tie up with a strong partner in Japan. In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia is the largest of the Gulf economies, so we need a strong local partner there, which we have. Latin America, Eastern Europe, and Russia. Russia is a very strong emerging market, oil, gas, energy, as you probably know, and Russia is vast, so you need partners in different regions, from Sakhalin to Siberia to the Western. So Eastern Europe and Russia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and parts of Latin America, those are the key markets. And of course Africa, which is pretty young for us still.
China and India.
Yes.
I know your companies are pretty strong in China.
Yes.
Do you need local partners in parts of China?
For certain services, because we are a non-asset-based company, we certainly in China and India need local partners for trucking, warehousing, and those asset-based services. We have about 9 offices in each of those countries, so we cover the country from a perspective of management, but we certainly need local logistics partners, so to speak, particularly in the western part of China now. There's a certain migration happening towards the center and the west for manufacturing and expansion. So we opened an office in Chongqing about 6 months ago, so that was our first base in the western part of China.
What about Central Asia? Is that also an emerging area?
CIS, yes. Russia, CIS, very strong for the oil. Yep. Kazakhstan, yep.
Azerbaijan.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of activity there. Again, the world's a big place, so getting to all of them at the same time, it's a step-by-step rollout. We have a group in Germany that has a lot of experience in the CIS countries, so they're developing that for us.
Are you in the market to buy up any of your partners?
It has happened, yes. We made some acquisitions in Europe where, for example, BDP Italy was a company that we acquired, and BDP France. Our project division is looking to possibly make an acquisition in Latin America. So yes, we make some acquisitions from time to time.
Right. Now, 50 over partners, that's a lot of people to manage.
Yes.
There's a lot of partnerships, a lot of cultures and languages.
Yes.
Is it giving you sleepless nights? Or you do this for the hobby?
No, this is more of a hobby for me. Look, we all have common thinking in terms of being driven by growth. We want companies with the same mindset, and so before we tie up with them, we make sure that they have similar thinking. Yes, it's different cultures, and one has to be careful. We get together once a year in a large conference, and we share, of course, information, and we try to get closer to us. But yeah, it's not easy. It's like the United Nations in a way, which is.
When you say a large conference, it's like anywhere in the world you have an event, and then everybody goes there.
Yes. We had a conference in Budapest last year. It was about 120 people. We had one in Dubai 2 years earlier, and I think it's Thailand next year. So yeah, it's necessary to get together for networking purposes and sharing information, and of course having business meetings to drive this growth.
Right. Next question I'm going to ask you is affecting everybody, and it's rising fuel costs. How is your company dealing with the threat of rising fuel costs? And all the shippers and all the airlines are complaining about rising fuel costs.
It's a problem, yeah.
So how are you taking on the challenge?
Well, my travel costs have gone up, so look, it's not something that affects us directly because we don't run equipment, we don't have trucks, airplanes, and so forth, so it's not a direct cost. The shipping lines pass that cost on to us, and it's a pass-through for us, so we basically pass it through to our customers. Whether it'll have an impact of slowing down the activity, it's a different question. Funnily enough, I just come back from our conference in Barcelona, and we had probably the best quarter this year in the history of our company. And this is as the U.S. is sliding into recession. What's driving that is a cheaper dollar, right? And the exports from the U.S. are just going through the roof, and we're very strong on U.S. exports. So in a way, the weak dollar is benefiting us. Now, I have no doubt that the increase in fuel, if it continues on the trajectory, that it will probably cool down growth economically, maybe not so much in Asia, but in the Western economies, and therefore the export and impact activity. So I think there will be an impact somewhere, but the actual cost will be passed through. Whether the activity slows down or whether we have to counter that by just running a bit harder to get more business remains to be seen. But it is, of course, a big challenge for the airlines and the shipping lines, that have to deal with it through hedging mechanisms and things like that. So, yeah.
Consumers are going to be ultimately affected.
Sure.
Bunker fuel is more than $500 a ton all over the place. Jet fuel is about $140, closing to $150 a barrel. It's hurting everyone. So, do you think your partners? Obviously, a lot of your partners on the ground who have to manage and own these assets. They're the ones who will be feeling the impact.
Yes.
When they start to feel the impact, how will that? Could that affect your company?
It may slow down the activity, certainly in some countries. It may slow down the growth, So in China, instead of 12, 11%, we'll have maybe 8, 9%. So it's going to be in a slowdown. It's not a major disaster for us, but of course, nobody knows where oil is headed. So if it doubles again, I think the world is going to have a problem anyway. But it seems to me that the oil increases today are not really filtering through as much as they did in the 1970s. It seems to be less of an impact today. That the world has not dealt with a almost quadrupling of oil prices in a short period of time without a really major impact. So there's still growth, but it remains to be seen. But I think the slowdown is definitely on the cards here. Okay.
Well, my last question comes back to Singapore, Jurong Island. Stolt Nielsen, which has been in the chemical logistics business a long time, has just been awarded a project to build a large tank farm to store and handle chemicals. And they're going to serve a lot of the clients in Asia from out of Jurong Island. Do you see that as a piece of good news for your company?
Oh, I think absolutely. We in fact enjoy a special relationship with Stolt, have for many years, as a business partner, because of their tank and tanker business. We do some back office documentation work for them in the United States. So there's a strong business relationship on an executive level with that company. Our project division, our new project division, will clearly attack that business from a point of view of giving them a call and saying, who are you choosing as a project logistic forwarder to import and bring in the equipment and the tanks to build this farm. So certainly we'll be in contact with them, and it'll probably become a tender situation where they'll go out in the market, and I would think that will be one of the hopefully chosen people that will be considered for that.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, Peter, thanks for this interview.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Nice to be here.